Roster cuts are in, and we are here to break down the 53-man roster, talk about things that stood out to us. Let's go.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. Today was D-Day for those in the NFL. Big day, cut down day, time to get that roster down to 53 players. And to be honest, I said this yesterday, these 2 days here are pretty blown out of proportion. Like, let's just be honest. When you look at the construction of a roster for an NFL team, you're keeping 53 players. 3 of those are specialists, so you're keeping 50. So who are the final 50 players that are going to be on this roster? Well, folks, if you do some simple math, first and second team, which you generally have a pretty good idea of who that's going to be, that's 44 players roughly. Now, there's some fluctuation because we know, maybe when you start analyzing this, that they only keep 9 offensive linemen versus 10. Like, okay. But what that boils down to, if you take the 50 minus the 44-ish, you're talking about 6 to 7 players that are on the border of making the roster. And so for us, it's like, who are those players going to be? And I think there's a good portion that we can say, yeah, you know what? We know those guys are not going to make it, but it's part of the process. This is what happens. And of course, we are here to react to it. I think the most notable news, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, has to be the news that Hunter Renfrow did not make the cut. So he's a vested veteran. He's a free agent. There's probably a good chance because of the relationship that he may come back. He gets signed to the practice squad as a vested veteran, get called up. Like, that's just the nature of how this can work. So it's something for us to keep in mind. That's probably the biggest news. There really wasn't a lot unless you're talking through Bryson Tremaine. Tried to tell you guys, Bryson Tremaine was going to make this roster. There was too much talk about him, too much production, and he was kind of a sleeper. So if you weren't paying attention, probably, wait, who? What? How? What? What's this guy doing? David Moore also. But enough of me just rattling off what happened. Let's get into it. Let's analyze it. That's exactly what we're going to do today. On Panthers.com, we will review all of the transactions for those that are visually watching us. Biggest news, and we'll start with yesterday, was the fact that Ryan Fitzgerald won the kicking competition, at least for now. We'll see if he can hold on to it. Our man Eddie Pinheiro was trying out for the Miami Dolphins today, as well as Zane Gonzalez. So 2 former Carolina Panthers. But going over yesterday, Matthew Wright was terminated. We waived quarterback Jack Plummer and Bryce Perkins, running back Imani Bailey, Ron Lynch-Adams, another running back, wide receiver Kobe Hudson, Jacoby George, TJ Luther. I expect hopefully 1 or 2 of those guys to come back on the practice squad. Dominique Daphne as well, tight end. Offensive line, Steven Lozoyo. Offensive line, Luke Kandra. Outside linebacker, JJ Weaver. Linebacker, Jacoby Wyndham. Cornerback, Travis Broughton. Cornerback, Bella Dotson. Trace Wheeling, Jack Henderson, and Isaac Gifford. Thinking maybe one of those guys back to the practice squad because we only have 4 safeties. Today, waived wide receiver Jasim Reed, tight end Bryce Pierce, offensive lineman Jarrett Kingston, offensive lineman Brandon Walton, O-lineman Michael Tarkin, defensive end Jared Harrison Hunt, defensive tackle Sam Roberts, linebacker Maz Mzuana. He can come back through the international pathway and not count against the 53, so you get an extra player. We'll see. So you'd have 17 on the practice squad. Cornerback Shamar Bartholomew did not make the cuts. CB, cornerback Michael Reed, safety Trevion Thomas. They waived injured guard Jaitier Carter, waived with an injury settlement Raheem Blackshear. There was a good feeling that Raheem Blackshear was not going to make the cut. We talked about that extensively as well. placed vested veteran wide receiver. Released vested veterans. Hunter Renfrow, Shy Tuttle, another one that we didn't think would make it. Boogie, Basham, Chris Barnes, he was one I was pulling for, and John Radigan, and then placed on injured reserve with a designation to return LeBron Ray. So you really have 54, but, LeBron Ray does not count against the 53. So that's where that sits. Let's take a look at the updated depth chart now that this is played out. Again, I don't think it's necessarily a surprise, but just the way that they've got this group, kind of interesting that Adam Thielen is the only one listed as a slot wide receiver at the moment. But here we go. Tedero McMillan, Adam Thielen, Ike Ekwonu, Damian Lewis, Austin Corbett, Robert Hunt, Taylor Moton, Jatavion Sanders, Xavier Legette, Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard. Really your whole starting offense from last year with the addition of Tedero McMillan. And then for backups at the moment, David Moore listed as second string behind Tedero McMillan. Your entire offensive line is back. Brady Christensen, Chandler Zavala, Cade Mays, Josh Nijman, Tommy Trimble at tight end, covering from the back, hopes to be ready by week 1. I just don't have high hopes. Jalen Coker, Andy Dalton, Rico Dowdle, and then Bryson Tremaine, your third wide receiver behind David Moore and Tedero McMillan. Then Mitchell Evans, Jimmy Horn Jr. made the cut, good for him, and Trevor Etienne. James Mitchell is your final tight end. So 4 tight ends, 7 wide receivers, 9 offensive linemen, 2 quarterbacks, and 3 running backs. Panthers split this thing pretty much down the middle as far as offense and defensive players. Or I believe it was technically, I was just doing the math before this. Yeah, right at 25. Yeah, split on the middle. Defensively, Ashawn Robinson, Turk Wharton, Derek Brown, Pat Jones, Trevin Wallace, Christian Roseboom, DJ Wonham, Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, Trayvon Merrick, and Nick Scott, currently listed as your starters. Backups, Bobby Brown III, Cam Jackson ends up making it. LeBron Ray, who we know, like we said, is going to IR. Jaden Crumedy is his backup, so good chance we see a little bit of him. Princely Uman-Mielen, Claudin Cherilus, Bam Martin Scott. How about that? Undrafted free agent making it in. Nick Scorton, Caleb Evans, Shaw Smith-Wade, Damani Richardson, Lathan Ransom. Round out your second team. And then I already mentioned Jaden Crumedy as an end. You also have Thomas Nkoun. DJ Johnson makes the cut. 6 outside linebackers and undrafted free agent star Corey Thornton. That rounds out the defense specialist. As of today, J.J. Jansen, Sam Martin, Ryan Fitzgerald, Rico Dowdle listed as the number 1 on kick return, David Moore on punt return, and then backup David Moore on kick return. Number 2, Trevor Etienne is punt return, and Jimmy Horn Jr. also in the mix there as well for those that are watching along. So to be honest, I don't know that there was a big surprise, so to speak, when I look at those transactions. Maybe there's a few in there that kind of snuck up on you, but I think in general, if you were to look at this, it's pretty close to what we would expect. Now, I don't know that the Carolina Panthers keep 6 outside linebackers for the duration of this thing. I think, maybe there's need at other positions, but at least for now, we'll see. The construction of the practice squad is going to come together over the next day, probably day or two, may take a little bit longer. But remember, all the waivers, guys that went on waivers, we can start claiming those guys, and not just us. Every team can start claiming them or putting in their claims. That'll start to trickle in around 12 o'clock tomorrow. That's when it officially happens. It's pretty simple. If you're in the front of the line, you can claim as many guys as you want. but you got to keep your 53. So you have to make a corresponding move to make this happen. And so remember, it's also not as easy as letting someone go in the moment and then signing them directly to the practice squad. They have to clear waivers. So it's not that simple. You have to keep that in mind. It's not like you can come in tomorrow, sign another 2 or 3 guys, and then hope that you're going to tuck somebody away. Now, the odds of this, you play the numbers game and you look at it. I mean, the thing is, you're probably not going to have that many teams just willing. There's going to be some claims, like, don't get me wrong, but it's not like every team's got 10 spots open. So if you do have to make a transaction, odds are you should be able to get the guy back on your practice squad. And if you can't, well, that's nothing you can do about it. But we will build out the practice squad. Remember, practice squad's important. It is. You have seen year over year, time after time, the need, not just for Carolina Panthers, but almost every team in the NFL to have to call someone up for whatever reason. Injuries occur. Things are going to happen. Bodies are going to be needed. Going to have that. Like, there's no doubt about that. So we'll see what that construction looks like. When I look at the final grouping for the offensive side of the ball, feel really good. You know, something I was on ESPN Wilming today. We were talking through this, just final roster cuts, where things sat. What do I feel right now about the Carolina Panthers? And again, just like coming off this preseason that wasn't the greatest. Offense, you feel good. Defense, still concerned with the pass rush. I think run defense will be improved. Very concerned with our inside linebacking core. But maybe there's something there underneath all of this, and we'll kind of get it sorted out as we get into this. And as I record this, we are still going through the speculation of Adam Thielen. I posted a short about it. We've already talked about it. I mean, the leaks keep coming out. Maybe if you're one of the sleuths that care about his wife's Instagram stories, I don't get into that. Like, I just don't get into that level of paying attention to this stuff and caring to that extent. Like, sure, if you want to find someone that does all that, go for it. But that's just not me. Stick to what we see and what's reported. I do think there's some games being played here, whether it's through Adam Thielen's agent or just Adam Thielen himself trying to get some things pushed through. I don't know. I just don't. But like Adam Thielen, you're in Carolina. You got a pay bump. We're the only team that really bought into you and believed you. You wanted to go to the Kansas City Chiefs way back when, remember? And now the Panthers hold all the chips. It's their decision. If you want to give the Carolina Panthers something for value in return, then yeah, we'll take it. I also get it from the Vikings side. You know what? Having to spend that much on a 35-year-old wide receiver that's only got like 1 year left, like, I don't know that I'd give it up either. It just depends on how desperate you are. Now, the funny thing that could happen if they want it, I don't think it will, but like Hunter Renfrow could get some calls and Minnesota could pick him up. Remember, if you're a vested veteran, you're a free agent. You go where you want to go. Who wants you? How do you fit into it? I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like Hunter Renfrow is a Carolina guy. He wants to be here. He talked about this as his opportunity. So I personally don't even see that really playing out. But we've got a lot of questions about defense. We'll get to see it unfold very, very shortly against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to get you guys all ready for that. We're ramping things up. And again, I'll plug this because like it's football season, man. If you are a fan of football outside of the Carolina Panthers, I highly recommend going over to YouTube. We're not doing anything on podcast platforms. Go over to YouTube. We've got UNC football previews. If you're a Carolina fan, South Carolina football previews, and then we're previewing the ACC and SEC this year. We're doing a lot, folks. We are. And I say we, it's me. I'm doing what I can. It's helping the channel grow, helping us monetize, all those fun things that you hear me talk about. And I just want to continue to do this because, yeah, one day I'd like this to be the thing that I do on a daily basis and continue to ramp up as a one-man show. Anyways, I'll shut up for now. That'll do it for today's episode. This is Carolina Dad.